All right, hello everybody. I am LQ, and this is the LQ Review. Tonight is the Oscars. I love the Oscars. I love it when we celebrate film, and it's very rare that I agree with the Oscars. Almost every year, I'm like, well, they didn't get it right, even though they did. Film is subjective, right? Film is subjective. It touches everybody a different way. My favorite movies is going to be different than other people's favorite movies. This is a group of professionals in the acting community who are making a decision on what they think are the best movies of the year. So, with that being said, with the fact that it is all subjective, let's talk about it. I'm going to make my prediction for the winner in every category. And then we'll revisit it and we'll see what percentage I got right. So let's take a look at this. First is production design. I think production design is going to go to Black Panther. Black Panther had great costumes, great set, very organic and very individualistic in its comparison with other comic book movies, even comic book movies in the MCU. Production design, Black Panther. Best short animated, I think this is a given. Bayo, the short film that was attached to, gosh, what was it? I think it was attached to Coco. I don't really remember. No, Incredibles 2, I think. I think it was attached to Incredibles 2. Bayo, it's the only one that I've seen out of the short animated movies, but I think that it's going to probably win. Pixar takes this one a lot. Short live action, I haven't seen any of them, so I'm just going for a stab in the dark. Mother. There it is. Best sound editing, I'm going to go with A Quiet Place on this one. The sound editing is creating sounds from the ground up to create an atmosphere in the movie. I don't think anybody did that better than A Quiet Place. So we're going to go with A Quiet Place on sound editing. Sound mixing is how you mix those sounds together, how you get all those sounds to fit together in a movie. And I think that one, Bohemian Rhapsody. I was thinking about going with A Star is Born, but I really think Bohemian Rhapsody is going to have the edge of the Academy over A Star is Born. So we're going to go with Bohemian Rhapsody on that one. Visual effects. I think this one's easy. I think it's going to be Avengers Infinity War. Thanos was the best visual effect of the year. Part of me feels like they're going to give First Man the best visual effects, but I just don't think anything, including First Man, has achieved what Avengers Infinity War achieved with Thanos. So I'm going to go with Avengers Infinity War. I'm probably going to be wrong. It's probably going to go to First Man, but my guess is Avengers Infinity War. Let's see. Best adapted screenplay. I was leaning towards, I'm not going to even say. A Star is Born. I think A Star is Born is going to win it. Yep, I think A Star is Born is going to win it. That's my pick for Best Adapted Screenplay. And then Best Original Screenplay, I think, is going to go to Roma. I think Roma is going to be the darling of the Academies this year. I think it's going to win the most awards. So I think Roma is the Best Original Screenplay. Best Short Documentary, Endgame. That's what I'm picking. It's got to win, right? It's the subtitle of the new Avengers movie, so it's got to be Endgame. In reality, I haven't seen a lot of these short docs. I have seen Endgame, so I'm going with that one. Best Film Editing, Bohemian Rhapsody. Again, I think they put this movie together really well. It wasn't my favorite movie of the year. It wasn't even in my top 10. In fact, I think Bohemian Rhapsody is overrated. But they did a really good job of editing it together. So I got to go with Bohemian Rhapsody on that one. Best Foreign Language Film has got to be Roma. It's probably going to win Best Picture. So of course it's going to win Best Foreign Film. Roma is the best foreign film. Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Vice. Vice, the period piece about Vice President Dick Cheney. Loved it. A period piece. Gosh, I was already an adult when that happened in real life, and here I am calling it a period piece. Great movie though. Great movie and great costuming, and gosh, the transformation that Christian Bale went through in that movie is staggering. Best Music, Best Original Score. I'm probably going to get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with Mary Poppins Returns. I think Mary Poppins Returns had the best score of the year. A lot of great music, kind of threw you back to the original Mary Poppins, but kind of forged its own path and did its own thing, and really was nostalgic for me. It really brought me back to when I was a kid, just the type of music that it was. I believe that one of the Sherman brothers had a hand in writing this music, and it really showed. It really felt like classic Disney. I've got to give Best Original Score to Mary Poppins. But Best Original Song, I am not giving to Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins was nominated for Where the Lost Things Go, and I just don't think it's going to beat Shallow from A Star Is Born. Great song, very, very catchy. You know, I found myself singing that in my head lots of times. And A Star Is Born was a great movie, so I'm going with Shallow on that one. Best Animated Movie, Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, Into the Spider-Verse beats Incredibles 2. Into the Spider-Verse is one of the best pictures of the year. Best pictures of the year. So it's got to win Best Animated. Incredibles 2 was very good. So was Wreck-It Ralph. But it's got to be Into the Spider-Verse. Fantastic movie, and it's going to create a whole new opportunity for more comic book animated movies to go to the to go to the theaters. Best Cinematography, again, I'm saying Roma on this. Roma was just such a put-together movie. I didn't love it. I found it a little bit boring, but if I stepped back and looked at it critically, it's a pretty well done movie, pretty flawless movie. So I've got to go with Roma on cinematography as well. Best Costume Design, again, I got to go with Black Panther. It's got its own feel, set apart from other comic book movies, set apart from the MCU, set apart from anything else that's been done this year. Black Panther had very unique costuming, very unique to that movie, that universe that they created, that world that they created within the MCU. Black Panther, best costuming. All right, we're getting to some of the big ones now. Best Director, Alfonso Cuarón from Roma. It's got to be. It's got to be. He did the best directing job of the year. I think you could go with Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. But I'm calling Alfonso Cuarón from Roma. Best Documentary, Free Solo. But let's talk about why Won't You Be My Neighbor wasn't nominated. That was the best documentary of the year. I don't care what anybody says. Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary about Mr. Rogers, that was the best documentary of the year. I don't know why it wasn't nominated. Maybe it didn't feel like it was important enough to the voters in the Academy. When you watch a documentary and you walk out of it and you examine your life and you say to yourself, wow, that man was great. He did so much with his life. What can I do to become more like him? That is a great documentary. That's an important documentary. And that's how I felt after I watched Won't You Be My Neighbor. I thought Mr. Rogers was a saint. He was a great man. And he did more with his life than most of us will ever dream of. How do I just become a fraction of what he was? So Won't You Be My Neighbor was the best documentary of the year, but it wasn't nominated for some ungodly reason. So I'm going to say Free Solo. Best Supporting Actress. Going to go with Regina King from If Beale Street Could Talk. Thought she knocked it out of the park. Thought she did a great job. And a lot of good actresses in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Emma Stone wins. Wait a second. Emma Stone might have been a best lead. Best Supporting Actor is going to be Regina King. Best Supporting Actor is going to go to Sam Neill from A Star Is Born. He was so wonderful in that movie. I can't even put it into words how much I was captivated by his performance. Whenever he was on screen in A Star Is Born, I was locked in because he was that good. He was so good that the lead actor, Bradley Cooper, modeled his voice after Sam Neill's voice. Sam Elliott. Hope I wasn't saying Sam Neill this whole time. Sam Elliott's voice. Sam Elliott was fantastic in this. I was digging his performance. I was digging everything he brought to this movie, and he brought a lot of heart to this movie. He brought a lot of the family dynamic that this movie had to it in A Star Is Born. Sam Elliott rocked this role, and I think he deserves the Best Supporting Actor. Same movie, Best Actress, Lady Gaga. I believe she deserves it. I believe she knocked it out of the park. I believe that she took this role and she owned it. Now, was this a stretch for her? Probably not. You know, this is probably a very familiar role. Probably a lot of what the character in A Star Is Born went through, Lady Gaga went through in her life. But she sold it. And again, she was charismatic, and she when she was on screen, you were locked in. Loved her performance in A Star Is Born. Can't say enough good things about it. And I'm not even a Lady Gaga fan. Nope, not a Lady Gaga fan. Don't like any of her music. But I loved her role in this movie. Best Actor. not Bradley Cooper. I loved Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born, and I think that he did a great job. But I actually feel like Lady Gaga, Sam Elliott, some of the supporting cast did a lot of the really heavy lifting in the movie as far as acting goes. I'm going to go with Rami Malek from Bohemian Rhapsody. I liked A Star Is Born a lot more than Bohemian Rhapsody. A Star Is Born was one of my top 5 movies of the year last year. Bohemian Rhapsody wasn't in the top 10. But Rami Malek became Freddie Mercury. He became him. You're watching that movie and you're like, yep, that's Freddie Mercury. That's how good he was, and that's why he's going to win. And finally, Best Picture. I want it to be A Star Is Born. That out of the movies nominated for Best Picture, Star Is Born was my favorite. But it won't be. Let's talk about Black Panther for a second. Black Panther's not going to win either, by the way. But how great is it that we have a comic book movie that has now been nominated for Best Picture? It's not the best movie. It's not the best comic book movie we've ever had. Logan was better. The Dark Knight was better. The original Avengers was better. Heck, I think Infinity War was better. I think that there's several comic book movies that's better than Black Panther. But let's put that aside and let's celebrate that a comic book movie is nominated for Best Picture. How wonderful is that? The glass ceiling has been broken. Now we can get more comic book movies nominated for Best Picture. All right. But the movie that I believe is going to win Best Picture is going to be Roma. Not one of my top 10 movies of the year. Not even close, really. But objectively, you have to look at Roma and you have to say this was a well put together movie and it deserves the recognition it's getting. It's going to get a lot of Academy Awards, I believe. And even though it wasn't my cup of tea, I can objectively look at it and say that was a great movie. So, Best Picture is kind of a win-win. Win, right? A Star Is Born was one of my favorite movies of the year. Out of the ones nominated, A Star Is Born is my favorite. Black Panther, yes, comic book movie nominated for Best Picture. It's not going to win, but man, it's been nominated and that's great. Roma, it's going to win probably, and that's okay, because it was a well put together movie. So those are my picks for this year's Academy Award. We'll come back later and see what my percentage was. Fingers crossed I get over 50%, and we'll just go from there. But thank you for joining me. I am LQ. This is the LQ Review. Please subscribe to my channel, and you can find me at the LQ Review on Facebook. And as always, thank you for joining me for this fun, geeky conversation that we just had.